Welcome to Active Shooter, the podcast.
After decades now of mass shootings, we haven't found the answer.
A tribute to the victims of two mass shootings.
Thank you for listening to Active Shooter, the podcast.
You are listening to Active Shooter, a podcast that may contain adult themes, explicit language, and graphic depictions of violence. Portions of this show may be traumatic for those under 18. Listener discretion is advised.
Good afternoon. An update now on that deadly shooting near a busy shopping mall in El Paso, Texas. It happened at a Walmart near Cielo Vista Mall this morning about 10 a.m. local time. The scene is about 7 miles from downtown El Paso. Here is what we know at this hour. NBC News has learned that at least 18 people have been killed. One suspect is in custody.
When a concerned mother called the police on June 27th, 2019 at 11:15 a.m., she would never have thought that her son would do the unthinkable and open fire in an El Paso, Texas Walmart and kill innocent lives. Her concern wasn't about her son creating the largest mass shooting of 2019. No, she was concerned that her son's age, immaturity, and lack of gun knowledge when handling the firearm could result in him hurting himself. Unfortunately, the police told her that because her son was 21 years old, it was perfectly legal for him to own the gun, and there was nothing that the police could do.
She was concerned about her 21-year-old son owning an assault-style rifle due to his age and lack of experience with that type of firearm. She did not identify herself or her son to police. The attorney tells us the Allen Police Department did not file the call or follow up on it, and a public safety officer told her son was legally old enough to purchase the weapon. Now, we don't know whether the gun she called about was the same AK-47 style firearm used in the attack. His family says the Allen Police Department did nothing but a good job answering questions about gun ownership.
Not only was her son of legal age to own the weapon, Texas is also an open carry state. This means that a person can openly carry a firearm out in the public, as opposed to concealed carry, which refers to when a person is carrying a firearm concealed on their person. Usually when people are openly carrying a weapon, they have a pistol holstered to their side, visible to anyone who can see the person. On August 3rd, 2019, a 21-year-old man drove his vehicle, a Honda, from Allen, Texas to El Paso, Texas. A drive that would cover more than 650 miles in over 9 hours. He drove around the neighborhood, trying to find the best place to plan his attack. After getting lost in the city of El Paso, he decided to stop at the Walmart near the Cielo Vista Mall, which was one of the busiest Walmart stores in the country, to get something to eat. While sitting at the McDonald's restaurant located inside the Walmart Supercenter, the shooter looked around, realizing just how many people are inside the store at the time. There were anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 shoppers in the store that were taking advantage of the back-to-school sales, as the schools in Texas would soon be starting. There were also over 100 employees in the Walmart helping the different shoppers throughout the store. The shooter thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to carry out his attack. He went back to his vehicle, collected his weapon, and started on his mission. Wearing a black shirt, khaki cargo pants, tactical glasses, and earmuff ear protection, he started his attack in the Walmart Supercenter parking lot, pointing his gun and pulling the trigger at unknowing customers. A couple had been sitting in their car, preparing to exit their vehicle and enter the store when they were each shot, seemingly out of nowhere. Members of the El Paso Fusion soccer team were just inside the store, selling fresh squeezed juices and snacks to raise money in order to buy new jerseys for their team, which consisted of all girls ages 10 and 11. It was the fast-acting choices that the team's assistant coach, Benny McGuire, made when he took off yelling throughout the store, telling the team and customers to run. A grandparent of a team member and 5 parents of the team members were wounded, including the head coach. All the young soccer players were spared their lives.
All of a sudden, in the middle of us laughing and having a good time, talking, they just started shooting, but we didn't know there were shots. It sounded like somebody threw black cats at the street. Then we noticed that, no, they're gunshots. So I just yelled, they're shooting, throw yourself on the floor. We all threw ourselves on the floor. We had nowhere to run. There was no way we could have ran out of there. I hid behind the SUV that was there, behind the tire. And I looked to the front. This guy was 2 cars away from us, just shooting at us. And I saw him reload his gun and walk towards us again. And he just cold-bloodedly came straight at us and shot us. He shot 8 rounds. I had to pretend I was dead. And he was right next to me. And he shot 8 more rounds. And all I could say is, God, please take care of my children. And please don't let him do anything to my daughter or any of the girls in our team.
Thanks to the parents and coaches of the team, a lot of the customers were given time to run and hide. Some of the customers just chalked the noise up to being roof construction or fireworks and weren't able to escape as quickly as others. As you can imagine, the scene was very chaotic, with people yelling both in Spanish and in English. One shopper, Christopher Grant, was in the produce aisle and saw the man enter the store. Instinct kicked in, and Christopher started throwing bottles at the gunman to try and deter him off course and interrupt his killer mission.
I'm standing in the parking lot, and I saw him popping people off. I was inside the produce department, which is right by the front door, and I saw him popping people off, and I was like, this is crazy. So to deter him, I started just chunking bottles. I just started throwing random bottles at him. And I'm not a baseball player, so one went this way and one went that way. And then one went right towards him, and then that's when he saw me and just started. And I ducked and I was behind the chips, and so I ducked, and he just boop, 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 started firing off rounds at me. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's shooting at me. And then so when I got hit, it was like somebody put a hand grenade in your back and pulled the pin. That's basically what it felt like. And then so I was like, oh my God, I got to get up. Get up. And then so he walked to the bank, which was right by the restrooms, and just randomly started. People were praying in Spanish. Por favor, no, por favor, no. And they were on the ground, and he still just shot him in the head. They were praying in Spanish. I'm from El Paso, and I know Spanish, and they were praying, please, please, don't shoot me. And he had no remorse for their lives at all.
The shooter entered toward the center of the store, yelling phrases such as, "Get out! Where are you?" The shooter would pull the trigger, spraying bullets throughout the store. A store manager was coming back inside the store after taking a break for some fresh air when he heard something that sounded like car backfiring. When he went to look into what the noise was, he saw a man with a gun shooting at random. The manager was able to warn other employees via a 2-way radio by using a company code. When he realized just how real the situation was, he forewent the company code and said, "Shooter! Shooter!" Witnesses said the gunman was shooting at random, while others said he was allowing Caucasian and African American people to exit the store unharmed. The shooter walked the aisles one by one, pulling the trigger whenever he got the chance, stalking the customers like a predator would stalk his prey. At the same time, customers were running for their lives. Those that decided not to run hid under shelves, tables, chairs. Listen to this next clip taken by a woman who was hiding under a Walmart shelf. The following clip contains the sound of gunshots and may be triggering for some people. If you are not comfortable hearing this audio, please skip forward 52 seconds. The customers that did run ran out the emergency exits and were able to hide in shipping containers outside of the store. There were bodies and blood everywhere. The fire alarms were ringing in everyone's ears, and no one knew if the shooter pulled the fire alarm himself to make people run, or if a customer had pulled the alarm to alert others of the shooter inside the store. 6 victims were shot while at the bank inside of Walmart, and at least 3 nearby restaurants had gone on lockdown, and some shoppers had even sought cover in the restaurants. Customers were literally running for their lives as a storm of bullets rained down on top of them. Time had come to a complete stop. After the shooter felt his mission was completed, he walked calmly back to his vehicle and drove away. Within 6 minutes, law enforcement was on the scene at the El Paso Walmart Supercenter. Not far from the Walmart, at the corner of Sunmount Drive and Viscount Boulevard, the shooter pulled his car over, exited his vehicle, and surrendered himself to a Texas Ranger motorcycle officer. He would put his hands in the air and confess, "I am the shooter." At 11:03 a.m., the shooter was handcuffed and taken into custody, with the police officers not firing a single shot from their service weapons. 22 people had been killed, and 25 had been injured. The shooter was shackled, placed in the back of a police car, and taken down to police headquarters. Detective Adrian Hernandez sat the shooter down in interview room number 4 and read the gunman his Miranda rights. He waived his Miranda rights and agreed to speak to the detective. El Paso, or the Pass in Spanish, has a predominantly Hispanic or Latino population. Of the approximately 700,000 people that call El Paso home, 80% of them are from some type of Hispanic or Latino descent. There is also a large military presence in El Paso, with the Mexican border being just 5 miles from the El Paso Walmart Supercenter. The William Beaumont Army Medical Center, Biggs Army Airfield, and Fort Bliss of the United States Army were all stationed in El Paso, Texas. El Paso is an exceptionally sunny city, averaging 302 sunny days a year, but little did the residents of El Paso know. Darkness can still prevail, despite all of the sun. Out of the 22 victims that lost their life that day, 13 were American, 8 were Mexican, and 1 was German. Family members scrambled and tied up the phone lines as they called everyone they could think of, trying to find beloved family members that they couldn't contact. A reunification center was set up at Ponder Park, but soon outgrew that location and was moved to MacArthur Elementary School, where family and friends could go to hopefully be reunited with their loved ones. We will be right back after these short messages. Jordan and Andre Anchondo had gone to Walmart to purchase school supplies for their daughter, who was due to start school soon. After dropping their daughter off at cheer practice, Jordan and Andre buckled their 2-month-old son into his car seat and headed towards Walmart. After arriving and entering the store, the gunfire soon followed. Andre died protecting his wife, Jordan, from the hail of bullets, while Jordan died protecting her precious 2-month-old baby, falling on top of him, clutching him to her chest. Because of his parents' heroic efforts, the young boy only suffered a few broken fingers.
They were beautiful. They were very hardworking. They were amazing parents to their 3 children. They gave what they could for them as far as support, and most importantly, they gave everything they could in love, and that's what ultimately we'll remember about them.